All right, let's get right into it. We're talking about the wild last-minute collapse of what was supposed to be a huge moment for crypto legislation. I mean, a week that was set to be a major step forward for policy ended up in just, well, total chaos. So picture this. Everything was lined up. A massive bill, one that could literally define the future of crypto rules in the US, was right on the verge of taking a huge leap forward in the Senate. And then, poof, it just vanished. It all ground to a halt. So the big question is, what on earth happened here?
To really get what went down, we have to start with the exact moment the brakes were slammed on. And trust me, this wasn't just a gentle slowdown. This was a full-on screeching halt. It all went down on a Wednesday evening. The Senate Banking Committee just pulled the plug. Out of nowhere, they announced that the planned markup for this huge crypto bill was off. This was a massive, totally unexpected move, and it sent shockwaves through the entire industry. Now, you keep hearing this word markup, and you might be thinking, what even is that? Well, it's an absolutely crucial part of how laws get made in the US. A markup is basically a session where a committee gets out their red pens, they debate, they argue, they amend, they rewrite a bill line by line. It's messy, for sure, but it is essential. Without a successful markup, a bill just can't move on to a full vote. It's dead in the water. So the big question is why? Why pull the plug at the 11th hour like that? Well, it turns out it wasn't just one thing. It was kind of a perfect storm of two major conflicts that just blew up at the exact same time. So you had this battle happening on two different fronts. On one side, you had some serious pushback from inside the crypto industry. A lot of folks felt that this 278-page bill was just giving way too much ground to big banks on things like stablecoin yield and tokenization. And then on the other side, you had pure political gridlock. Democrats were really digging in their heels on these new ethics rules to stop government officials from profiting off crypto, but they couldn't get the White House on board. So with tensions already sky high on both of those fronts, the whole situation was incredibly fragile. But then, one of the biggest, most influential names in the entire crypto space made a move that basically tipped the whole thing right over the edge. You can just feel the tension, right? Imagine the scene in Washington. You've got these behind-the-scenes talks completely stalling out. Frustrations are just boiling over. And then, late in the afternoon, the final blow lands. And it doesn't happen in some quiet committee room. It happens out in public for everyone to see. This was the breaking point. Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, who had actually been a longtime supporter of this whole process, went public with an absolute bombshell. He said, you know what? This bill has gotten so bad that we are better off with nothing. No bill is better than a bad bill. And that was it. The line had been drawn in the sand. So why did this one statement matter so much? Well, because Coinbase isn't just some random company. They are a massive voice on Capitol Hill. They have huge lobbying power, huge spending power. So when they publicly walked away, it immediately sparked fear that any senator who was kind of on the fence would see this as a huge red flag and just decide to vote no. It made passing the bill seem almost impossible, a huge setback. Okay, but here's where the story gets even more interesting. Because while Coinbase's exit was a major blow, it absolutely did not mean the entire crypto industry was on the same page. In fact, it basically ripped the curtain back on a major split in strategy. Almost the second that Coinbase pulled out, this wave of other crypto heavy hitters rushed in to say, whoa, wait a minute, we're still on board. You had major players like A16Z, Circle, Paradigm, Kraken, Ripple, all of them put out statements basically saying, no, let's keep going, let's work this out, let's get this done. And the co-CEO of Kraken put it super directly, in what a lot of people saw as a direct shot at Coinbase. He said, it's easy to walk away when the process gets difficult. What is hard is continuing to show up. And that right there just highlights this deep philosophical divide in the industry's whole approach. Do you fight for the perfect bill and risk getting nothing? Or do you compromise to at least get something on the books? So, the bill is pulled, the industry is publicly at odds with itself, and it leaves everyone asking the same critical question. What in the world happens now? The simple and honest answer? The bill is in legislative limbo. The reset button has officially been slammed. All of those complicated, fragile negotiations, they basically have to start all over again, but this time from a really fractured and difficult place. So let's just recap where we stand right now. The Senate Banking Committee, no new timeline.
A completely separate crypto markup in another committee? That got postponed too. And most importantly, those core problems, the industry's fears about the banks and the political standoff over ethics rules, they are completely unresolved. The path forward is, to put it mildly, incredibly unclear.
And this whole saga brings us right back to the fundamental question at the heart of this entire debate. It's the one that Coinbase put on a table and Kraken pushed back on. Is it better for the crypto industry to live with the complete uncertainty of having no rules than to accept rules that might be flawed? That right there is the billion-dollar question that everyone in DC and the crypto world is now trying to figure out.